Should you buy Mad Max in 2023? Mad Max is technically a movie tie-in game, but it tells its own story. Released right in between Metal Gear Solid 5 and The Witcher 3, it's easy to see why everyone overlooked Mad Max, and most of you watching it probably heard of it, but you've never played it. I made a video a couple weeks back actually playing through the first 2 hours, and the response I had from that video, just a little playthrough of it, was pretty surprising. I didn't expect many people to watch it, but over 1,000 people watched it, and I was just like, hang on a minute, people actually care about Mad Max. I thought I was the only one. The thing is, with Mad Max being released in between two of the biggest games of 2015, Metal Gear Solid 5 and The Witcher 3, two massive games that sold incredibly well, Mad Max was never going to compete with that. Mad Max is a big IP, don't get me wrong, but it's still very niche. When you talk to most people, they probably haven't watched the original Mad Max films or Mad Max Fury Road. By the way, if you haven't watched Mad Max Fury Road, please watch it. It's really good. It's one of the best action movies ever made. The story's a bit but you don't really need a good story when the action is so good, and that sums up this game quite well as well. You see, Mad Max is all about the gameplay, it's all about the world. So if you're coming into this for this amazing, tear-jerking story, you're not going to get that. In fact, the story is really, really bad, which is why when the reviews came out for Mad Max back in 2015, it was considered mediocre. 2015 was a time where if you didn't have the story done, you're probably going to get less than nice reviews. Especially after the games like The Last of Us, Uncharted 4, Uncharted 3, all of those games that came out, Batman, all that stuff, all the stories were pretty good at the bare minimum. But Mad Max does not care about story. All it cares about is putting you in a world that you can explore and you can kill bad guys with. I say bad guys, I mean everyone's a bad guy in Mad Max, it's a post-apocalypse. But should you buy it? That is the question that you've clicked on, so let's go through this step by step to see if it's worth buying. I mean, I already think it's worth buying, but this is all about you guys, this is about the viewer, so I'm going to break it down to see if it's your kind of thing. So, if you're a story gamer, this ain't for you, okay? This is an open world looter game, really. You're looting most of the time and you're killing bad guys most of the time with no real motivation outside of just having a good gameplay experience. The story is not it. I'm planning to do a proper retrospective going through the story, all the spoilers on the Sticky Man, which will be linked down below, so if you still haven't popped over, come and check it out. There's 2 videos on there. It's worth it, I beg. It's more entertaining, I think, anyway. But in my opinion, I find it more entertaining to make. But the point is, the story is barely worth talking about, yet you can still make a retrospective on it, which I'm working on right now. But it's so lackluster and so insignificant to the overall package of Mad Max that it's kind of pointless just talking about it in general in a non-spoiler review. What happens is, you play as a guy called Max, and Max is mad, and Mad Max decides to escape the world, the apocalypse basically, and he wants to travel to a place called the Plains of Silence, I believe it was, if I remember correctly. And in order to do this, you have to build a car, and you want the best car, you want the best armor, you want the best speed, you want the best weapons, you want the best of all of it, because you're Mad Max. And you meet a guy called Chumbucket. I call him a guy, he's kind of not a guy. I mean, he's a mutated player. It's weird. I don't really know what to call Chumbucket. Chumbucket's weird. Anyway, so over the course of your, probably, I think it was about 15 to 20 hours for me, over that journey, you're going to be meeting various characters like Pink Eye, Jeet, Scrotus, as well as a few I'm not going to spoil, and all of these characters are far more interesting than Max. The problem with Max is that he's insane, but he gets so overshadowed by pretty much everything else in this game. Characters, world design, level design, the actual gameplay loop, the car itself, everything overshadows Max, so you're not going to be finding yourself intrigued or wanting to get to know this guy more. You just want him to kind of shut up and just get on with it, and that's what he does most of the time. But it kind of loses itself towards the end of the game, the final act, which is Act 4, and well, a bit of Act 3. It becomes far more focused on Max as a character, his motivations, his goals, as well as the characters that are trying to get into his life, and it just falls so flat. You kind of just like, what is going on? It's so confusing. But as that happens, the story, the way it's told, it becomes more visually appealing. It gets a bit more creative. You start getting visions, you start getting more visual storytelling rather than it being just explained to you in an exposition dump. You know what I mean? And the biggest compliment I can give the story is that the characters that you meet are very consistent. There is one character, I won't spoil it, but towards the end, it makes a lot of sense why they're so dumb and so connected to something that they're willing to throw their life away for it, I guess. That's the best way I can say it without spoiling anything. Obviously, if you've played it and you want me to, you probably know who I'm talking about. But if you want a spoiler review, hop over to the Sticky Man. That should be up tonight or probably tomorrow. Most likely tomorrow, but we'll see. Because I've got an X-Men Origins Wolverine video coming as well. Oh my god, I keep mentioning it in every video I'm making recently, but X-Men Origins Wolverine is so good. But we're not here for X-Men Origins Wolverine. We're here for Mad Max. Right, that's the story. Probably the least interesting part of this whole video, so let's get to the gameplay. Oh my god, the gameplay of Mad Max is so good. Repetitive, don't get me wrong, it's repetitive, but it is so good you don't care. The gameplay is all about upgrading the Magnum Opus. That's your car. And don't worry, it doesn't have to be a muscle car. There's a bunch of cars you can choose from and customize. They're called Archangels. But the key gameplay loop is you're going around this world, you're liberating it in a sense. You're making it less dangerous for a group you're connected with. And over time, you unlock scrap and unlock upgrades for Max and your car. And over time, you're going to get this car that you can customize to your liking. Do you want to be the fastest car in all of the sand, or do you want to be the strongest car where you can just bash into people and they just shit themselves and they start running? You know what I mean? It's completely up to you, and the car handles very differently based on your upgrades. And it's not about unlocking the best upgrade. It's about customizing it with the upgrades you have an option for. So you could have, you could technically have the worst upgrade for, let's say, your armor, but you can have the best upgrade for your engine. That makes you far quicker, you accelerate far faster, and you have a better exhaust, so your top speed is through the roof, which makes escaping enemies much easier. Or you can go the armor route, where you can take on tons of enemies and not even worry for a second. It's all about customization, and you very rarely see that with customization. It's usually about getting the best upgrade, and that's that. You get the best upgrade and move on. Nah, not here. You customize it to your liking, like you're actually tuning a car, which is really fucking cool. Besides the car, you can upgrade Max. This increases your, your fist damage, your ability to parry, your special abilities, your takedowns, all the usual stuff you see from games like Batman, or not Assassin's Creed. Well, the new Assassin's Creed technically, yeah, but mainly from Batman. A lot of this game is clearly inspired by the Arkham series, as many games were back in 2015, which is why The Witcher 3 made such a wave, I think, but hey, we'll move on to The Witcher 3 another day, on the Sticky Man anyway. But it all connects, basically, and everything you do in this game progresses you in whatever you want to progress in, whether it's your car, whether it's Max, whether it's your factions, where you can upgrade your buildings and stuff like that. It all is about progression. You're never not going to be not doing something, you know what I mean? You're not, everywhere you explore in this world has a reason to be explored, which is missing in a few open world games. The combat for Max is really satisfying. As I said earlier, it's repetitive, but it is so satisfying. This gameplay loop, this combat that Avalanche have designed for Max, it is the closest thing to the Arkham series you can get, while also feeling completely unique. It's not like Assassin's Creed, where they literally just copied the system but made it worse. Mad Max takes liberties with the system and creates some new mechanics that you probably haven't seen before. Every punch feels like it's got weight behind it. Oh my god, the sound design is perfect. The impact of your punches, of your kicks, of your takedowns, of your shivs are just perfect. It's perfect, man. I really can't think of any ways to really improve the combat system without losing what makes it unique, apart from enemy variety. There needs to be a bit more enemy variety here for me to give it like a 10 out of 10 combat system, you know what I mean? But for what it is, and for Avalanche's only game that has this system in place, because Avalanche make the Just Cause games, so melee combat isn't really a focus. For their first attempt for a melee system, they did fucking phenomenal, and I hope they get another chance one day to go into this system further, maybe even a sequel to Mad Max. Highly doubt it, it didn't sell enough, but a man can hope. But as I said, it is a repetitive game. If you're a gamer out there that can't really accept repetitiveness, that you need something new every couple hours, this isn't going to be it, because like I said, this is all you're going to be doing in Mad Max. You're going to be getting in your car, you're going to be driving to a location, you're going to be getting the loot, you're going to be beating some guys up, you're going to take over a camp, you're going to go back to your faction building, you're going to build some bits, you're going to upgrade your car, and you're going to go and do it again and again and again. So if that's not your kind of thing, I wouldn't buy it, okay? I'm just going to be blunt with you. The repetitive nature of it is Mad Max's flaw. It's the biggest flaw and why it probably got so many mediocre reviews. But if you can get over that hurdle, if you can accept that, if you can just lean into the gameplay just a little bit more than usual, you're going to have an absolute blast. Now, Mad Max usually is on sale for very cheap. It's very cheap. I think when I bought it a couple years back, I bought it for like £5, maybe £10. So I don't know what that is, like $12, $15. I don't know the conversions. You can get this game really cheap, and I'm pretty sure you can get it on PlayStation Plus. And I imagine it may come to Game Pass at some point. But if you can get it as cheap as like $5, $10, absolutely do it. It's probably going to be your best purchase in the last couple months. There is so much entertainment value here. I absolutely think you should buy it if you can accept the repetitive nature of the game, and I just think that it deserves more love, man. It came out in a time where games like this just got shit on all the time. If it wasn't massively multiplayer or it wasn't story driven to the absolute max, you're not going to, get a lot of good raving reviews, because that's the way critics work. They huddle together. They just, oh, this game's really good. Oh, this game's really bad. I don't like it. I don't like the big guys like IGN, GameSpot, all them. They're crap, I think, anyway. But the point is, it's really good. I'm not going to take any more of your time. If you want to buy it, go buy it. If you don't, well, thank you for watching anyway, and smash that like button and subscribe. Go check out the Sticky Man, please, I beg.